Today we're talking about tips for slurring and bow distribution. Welcome. Welcome to the studio. My name is Cassie and I'm a professional violist and teaching artist. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about how to practice slurs and bow distribution. If you're not familiar with that term, it's just a fancy way of saying how much bow am I going to use and when. So I chose a C major 2-octave scale to work on this just because I felt like it would be the easiest thing. Most people know it, and we can go across all 4 of our strings when we're playing that. So the first thing I want to talk about is how to create a smooth slur between 2 notes. The prep step that I would use for this is called a stop bow. So essentially, instead of doing a smooth slur just right off the bat, I'm going to do a stop in between the 2 notes. So I'm on my C string between C and my first finger D. And I'm literally just stopping my bow, setting my left finger, and then continuing my bow. So let me demonstrate that one more time. Stop, set your finger, and continue your bow. A lot of times when students are new to slurring and they're trying to coordinate both hands together, the bow ends up being a little bit of a bully and winning the race. We always want our left hand to be the one, especially under slurs, that helps to create our rhythm. Not that the bow doesn't contribute, but it's more of a left hand thing. So we're going to practice that C major 2-octave scale with stop bows. So I'm going to be using half a bow for each note. And stopping in between each note. The goal here is that your finger, as soon as your bow stops, your left finger goes down. So if I was speaking that out loud, it would be open. 1, 2, 3. So as soon as that bow stops, place your finger. Let's try that together, and I'll speak the fingers out loud while we do them. Starting on your C string. O. 1, 2, 3. O. 1, 2, 3. O. 1. Low 2. 3. O. 1, 2. And you can do that ascending and descending. So that would be our first step. Once that's feeling really, really comfortable, that you feel like you're able to set your left hand as soon as you're saying that finger number, not kind of waiting for the bow to move before you place that finger, we can go to our next step. So instead of, again, going straight out and doing smooth slurs right off the bat, I'm going to incorporate a little bit of that stop bow idea, except in between slurs. So I'm going to slur smoothly my first 2 notes, stop my bow, think about my next 2 fingers, have them set, and then continue on. So we're just placing a stop in between the down bow and the up bow. Our goal, especially at this slower tempo, is still to use a full bow, so let's give that a try. So set your bow away at the frog, and we're going to do smoothly open 1. Stop, set your 2, go. Go to the G, set your 2, D string, low 2, A string, low 2. Once that feels like it's successful, we're going to again take just one more step and we're going to do 2 bows with no stops in between. So to prep for that, I'm just going to practice with my fingers on the top of the instrument called the table. And I'm literally just doing a down bow and an up bow. Open, 1, 2, 3. So I'm getting my bow used to just not stopping so that smooth legato stroke can happen. This is one of the most difficult strokes to work on. So if you're having troubles, the most common trouble I see is that turnaround from the up bow to the down bow. It sounds almost like there's a hiccup or a false accent. I'll make another video to talk about that, but just for right now, I wanted to work on getting that smooth legato slurred stroke. So once you've done that a couple of times just on your open strings, I'm going to practice on my G, my D, my A. I'm going to try that scale, but I'm only going to do 2 bows at a time before stopping and resetting. So we're going to go back to our C string. 1, 2, 3. Freeze. Drop your elbow, go to the G string level, and we're going to do the same 4 notes. Same 4 fingers. 1, Remember there's a low 2 on the D string. 1, low 2, 3. Stop, drop to the A string. 1, low 2. And you can also do that scale descending as well. So that's just a quick run through of some ideas that can help you get that legato or slur stroke to feel a little bit more comfortable. We only did it between 2 notes, so I'm going to give you some tips now that goes between multiple notes. Obviously, that's going to create a little bit more of a rhythm issue for your left hand. So I'm going to just isolate a little bit of that scale. I'm just going to do the 4 notes on the C string. My goal this time is going to be to slur all 4 of those notes. So instead of doing 2 per bow, we're going to do 4 per bow. We're going to start with that same process of doing stop bows. This time, by the time you hit the middle of the bow, you need to have 2 notes under your belt. So C, D, E, F. So we're splitting the bow in half, or in quarters really. So let's give that a shot. So we're starting on open C, stop, place your first finger D, aim to be at the middle of the bow by the time you get here. I'll stand this way, it's probably easier. And then set your 2, set your 3. So we're working not only on getting a legato stroke here, but our bow distribution. Our goal is not always going to be to use a full bow, but just for the time being while we're talking about slurring, that is our goal. So let's try those 4 notes again. Set all the way at the extreme frog. 1. Should be at the half of your bow right now. Set your 2, then your 3. So again, that's our first step. In order to now create a smoother slur between those 4 notes, I'm going to take out one of the stops. So between C and D is going to be a smooth legato stroke, but then I'm going to stop bow my upper 2 notes. That will sound like this. Stop, stop. Let's try that together. So open 1. Should be at the middle of your bow right now, and then we're going to do stop bow. Set your 2, set your 3. We're going to gradually now take one of those stops out. So I'm going to smoothly slur 3 notes, but stop before I get to my 4th. So that will sound like this. Stop, and then set your F. Let's try that together. Open, ready, go. Stop, set your 3. And you've probably guessed it by now, but we're going to do all smooth slurs, no stops this time because we've done the prep steps to get there. So all smooth slurs, goal is to use the whole bow. Go. If yours sounds like this, like it's a little bit uneven, like the rhythm isn't correct, you can put on a metronome. I would suggest starting at a really slow tempo, like 60, and each time it clicks, that would be your goal to place your next finger. Another thing that would be really helpful is when you put those fingers down, you want to actually hear them. So when they go down, you want to use the base knuckle, your lowest knuckle, to activate that stroke. I see a lot of students that kind of creep up the fingerboard and they don't place their fingers with definition or with intention, and that can lead to uneven or not so great sounding rhythmic slurs. So that's a few ideas for how to create a smooth slur. You can pick any scale that you want, doesn't really matter. The next thing I wanted to talk about in this video was bow distribution. We've been using a full bow and kind of stopping at various points to help create that smoother slur. Bow distribution needs to be applied to every single note in every single piece that you play. And while you're first starting to think about it, it might feel a little bit overwhelming, but as you get more comfortable with it, you'll learn that there's certain trends. Or I know that if I always have an up bow, like a pickup note on an up bow, I don't necessarily need to start it here because it's usually a pretty quick note. I'm going to start it lower in the bow. But essentially, I'm going to make a bow plan for how I'm going to distribute my bow for every single song, for every single note in every single song. So we're going to use that same C major scale, but we're going to set a different goal for ourselves this time. I'm going to do the same 2 octaves, but my goal this time is going to be to slur 2 notes per bow, but to only use half a bow. So I'm going to start at the very frog. And my new goal is to think a little bit slower on my bow speed so that I don't go past the middle. I've seen some people put clothespins at the middle of their bow. I've used wine charms before. I'll put a link for those in the description below. They just kind of clip on the stick of the bow, and it doesn't allow you to go past where you need to go past. So those are some fun tools that you can use to help yourself. But ultimately, you're going to need to know what it kind of feels like, and you can just look at your bow and see, okay, that's the middle of my bow. I know I need to stop there. So we're going to set ourselves back up on the low C string for our C major scale, 2 octaves. But our goal this time is to only use half a bow, and I'll face this way so you can see a little bit better. So open, 1, turn around, 3, open, 1, 2, 3, open. Think slow bow, turn around, 3, open, 1, 2, back down. That might have been a real struggle for some of you, or it might have felt really easy for some of you that prefer to play in the lower half of the bow. Everybody has different preferences. Everybody has different part of the bow that they feel more comfortable in. So that's just one example of a way that we can practice bow distribution. As you can imagine, there's like a million different ways to practice this. So I just said that my goal was to stay in the lower half. I can set another goal that says I only want to stay in the upper half. So I'm going to start at the middle of my bow. Made it back to the middle, so I'm going to turn around. You get the idea. You can also start this bow distribution practice with stop bows. So all the things that we talked about in creating a smooth legato slur can be applied here for bow distribution as well. If you have a specific piece that you're working on and it always feels like you're running out of bow, like maybe you have to slur 8 notes at a time and you always run out of bow for that last note, this is a really great place to practice those stop bows. So again, talking about bow distribution, if I know I have to fit 8 notes in my bow, it's pretty simple math. By the time I get to the middle, I need to have played 4 notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's pretty much at the middle of my bow. Okay, I made it, and then I'm going to gradually take out one of the stops each time. I'm at the middle. Okay, I'm going to take out one more of the stops. Okay, I made it to the middle. One more note as I'm doing this and remembering, when you're doing your stop bows, you want to make sure that you have that kind of turning the doorknob feeling of pronation. So it's almost like one of your arm bones is going slightly over the other. We don't want to have those stops sound fuzzy. And then you can start backtracking. So you want to keep a little bit of weight into the string. And the way that we do that is by pronating a little bit into the stick or feeling like we're turning the doorknob a little bit. So those are just some quick tips for how to do smooth slurs and how to work on bow distribution. If there's a specific piece that you're working on and you're really struggling with it, can you post it in the comments below, and I can definitely try to give feedback from afar. I love trying to help you guys, and I really appreciate that you're watching. If you'd like to join us on Patreon, that's still available. Posted the link down below for that. And until next time, happy practicing.